Make sure. I'm gonna go to Twitch really quick. I copied in the stream key, but you know, you never know. It could mess up.
My Streamlabs automatically loaded in my stream key for whatever reason.
I changed it, so hopefully it's... Yeah, it's working. Okay. I see it.
Alright, all good then?
Yeah, should be fine. Except it said it was a... Oh, never mind. And it's all good.
Could you guys throw me back in game real quick?
Yeah! I'm just like, who did we lose? Alright, well, we're all here, so welcome. That you try to restrain yourselves from shooting each other. It gets very, very loud when everybody's shooting, but there will be moments for you to kill me over and over, I assure you. Other than that, because of the way custom lobbies work, I have to restart the match every half hour, so just be prepared for me to interrupt you all. But other than that, yeah, we can just get started, so just select Zenyatta and meet up on the point.
What's up?
I was just thinking.
Alright, Rose, have at it.
I'm streaming it, I'm just letting you know. Like on their channel.
So.
No, it wasn't gonna be anything bad.
Yeah, I know, but...
Yeah, he's
What's up?
arguably.
No, I was just thinking, like, what if you just called your mom and told her you were dating a guy now?
In the game. He can be a little hard, but his mechanics are not that good. What comes with his challenge is actually he needs to be very communicative, and he needs to have good position, which we'll get onto that later.
I honestly think that Zenyatta is the best hero in the game, and of course I'm biased because I'm a Zen main, but there's a reason, and he's been meta for several seasons because of this reason. Mechanically speaking, he's not complex, as Rose already had said, but as far as the amount of the game he controls, he actually how do I phrase this? He dictates how the game's going to play out with his abilities and his damage output and his ultimate that can save the entire team, things like that. He's also the perfect position to have a target caller / shot caller for because of his Discord orb, which we'll get into shortly. But either way, I think he's a super valuable hero, and he's really good at adapting to several different areas of the game. So with that being said, though, we can start to cover the base abilities of his kit, and we can pick up with Rose on the Harmony Orb.
Alright, so Harmony Orb default is his left shift. Some people may have a different setting, but the default is left shift, which is his primary ability. It does 30 healing per second, so it's not a whole lot of healing, but it can give you a lot of ult charge because it always stays on a target. Like, it'll always be on that target so long as they're within line of sight. It will break, it will come off the target if you break line of sight for 3 seconds. So if you harmony one of your friends and then walk out of line of sight, you'll see that it'll break the orb off of them.
And as far as the technicalities, we know it does 30 healing per second thanks to Rose, but the big thing about this Harmony Orb is targets of who you should put it on. A lot of the time, if you're running something like an Ana, you want to have your Ana Harmony because she's not very mobile, and she could probably use all the help that she could get, if you want me to be honest, because she will have a big target on her back just like Zenyatta does. You also want to give Harmony to tanks and flankers. A lot of the time I would highlight flankers over tanks because those are your hard to hit heroes. They're hard to follow. They're oftentimes out of LOS, and because of that 3-second window that you have, they can peek you from anywhere from the map and keep that orb so that they have a constant little pocket while you can deal with the rest of the game. Now, that being said, Harmony Orb does have a range, and it's about 40 meters. So to demonstrate that, we have Rose sitting over on this opposing high ground. Right now, we are in range, but if I just back up a little bit, I can't Harmony. But
So this is max range.
yeah, like this is our max range. If I back up any more, it would basically go away. So, but that being said, if I Harmony Rose, even if I back out of that range, as long as they're in sight and not falling off, the map, as long as they're in sight, I'm actually able to, sorry, that's really funny. Okay, I'm trying to get back on I'll according to plan. Don't fall off the map. The Harmony doesn't save you from that. But basically, if you have a Harmony Orb, even if you're going out of range, as long as they're in LOS, they will keep it. They could be 100 meters away. They could be 200 meters away. As long as they see you, that Harmony Orb will stay on them. You just have to Harmony them within that 40-meter range. Like, I can move all around this map, but because I see Tripid, she won't lose that Harmony Orb. And that's a really important note when you're playing on long open maps with something like Dive or with a Tracer or a Genji. Also, feel free to pop any questions that you have, like, over topics that we're covering.
I've already learned something, so continue.
Alright.
Also, another small thing is, if you look in the bottom right of your screen, right above your ammo, when you have your orbs on somebody, it'll show you their character and it'll also show you how much health they have, which is very, very nice, and it was something that I was asking in the forums for like years since I started playing Zen, and then they finally added it, and I was so happy. So it's like, I was always like, Mercy gets to see who she's connected to, I can't Zen.
Well, now Zen can.
Yeah, it's very helpful. So you can see, oh, that person's at full health. I don't need to have that orb on them right now. Let me move it over there.
Yeah. I guess with that, we can move on to Discord Orb, which is his second ability.
Discord default is E. And what it does is it increases all damage by 30%. And it also gets applied after any sort of damage boost. I welcome adversity. So say Mercy's right-clicking somebody, which gives them a 30% damage buff, and then Zen discords the target that person shooting. So that 130% damage is then increased by another 30%.
And then you have Supercharger, which also stacks.
Which stacks and mana boost. All of them stack together.
All of them stacked together. It's actually ridiculous if you pop all of that at the same time. But a big thing about Discord Orb is why I give Zenyatta so much credit as a target caller. Because you can see who's discorded, you can call who is discorded. And your team has that. It's basically putting an advantage for your team on a target. It encourages target calling, which is also why Zenyatta is so important in a lot of comps. It's why he's running a lot of comps. As far as who to target with Discord, because we get that question a lot, I do at least from a coaching standpoint, there is no such thing as a wrong target as long as your team can basically attack it. So, a lot of times discording tanks is a good idea, especially if there's a Reinhardt or something. But if your team's running Dive, then discord a Zen or a Nana that you see, or a Mercy that you see, or something. So it really is dependent, but no target's a bad target as long as your team focuses it. That's just a big thing with Discord, because a lot of people go, who do I target? What's the right target? In GOATs, they just throw it on the Reinhardt every time. Every time. They throw it on the Reinhardt because it's so powerful, it breaks down that tank if everyone focuses him. And that's just like the true importance of how much power that Discord Orb has as long as you're calling who it is on. Yeah. At this point, we have Trippin said they were gonna have some fun killing her. So if everyone wants to line up around this area, you guys are gonna take turns You're gonna hit Trippin in the head with a normal orb, then a discorded one to see the damage that you're doing. And then please let her heal, she will die.
So while you guys are doing this, I should explain what Zenyatta's primary fire is.
Go ahead, Risby, shoot me in the face.
I like how she's like looking around to get confirmation. Like, is this okay?
Yeah,
Can I
shoot. You have to shoot Trippin in the face. It's fine. And then you discord and shoot.
92 damage, yeah.
92 damage. It does 46 damage on a body shot, 92 on a headshot. With discorded, the damage on a headshot is 120.
It's significantly more.
Alright, somebody else try. Or actually, wait, I'll use the Discord real quick.
What was the damage of the body shot again?
Body shot is 46.
Oh, gotcha!
So that's how much damage you're going to be doing here.
I keep thinking I'm lag spiking because of how you're moving, Trippin. Like,
Same,
you want to see a fast Roadhog?
Yeah.
Smudge.
Whoa.
Yikes. I keep thinking that I'm lag spiking and gonna crash, but
You have 20 ammo as Zen. So you can shoot 20 times before having to reload. Sorry if I keep using voice lines. I keep tapping out my left alt.
no, you're totally fine. Because while we're going over this, we can start to go over the primary fire a little bit. Rose already covered the damage, but I can cover when we should use it if you want. Or
Also, another small thing is there's no fall off damage.
oh yeah, that's huge actually.
So if I hit you from right here, it does the same damage as if I hit you from way over here. Wow, you're out.
Does the same amount of damage across the map, which makes Zen absolutely devastating. Now, a lot of people ask, when should I use this primary fire over his alternate fire? We'll cover his alternate fire shortly. But when you're using his primary fire, his left click, it should be in the middle of engagements. So when your team decides to go in, you should almost never be using your right click. You should honestly be sitting there dealing out damage because you're going to actually do more damage if you're shield breaking, first of all, when you don't have that pause of charging up a shot. So you need to shield break, you want to left click. Whenever it's in the heat of a fight, you'll actually output more damage, even though it seems like putting those 5 orbs in after like a 5-second charge up is... it's satisfying, don't get me wrong, but it's not as efficient as left-clicking in the middle of a fight. Now, between fights, I'd say that's when you can use your alternate fire. You know, peeking corners, trying to get that Widow when she's not looking at you, that kind of deal, before engagement and post-engagement when they are running away. But Rose has all of these really cool facts about alternate fire, too, so...
Yeah, well... you guys can practice your primary fire a little bit on the super flying Hanzo.
Oh my god, you're doing the Hanzo!
I've only got 200 health, so like if anyone hits me, I'm so chill. Oh god! Nice, Sam!
I thought it was gonna be the Farah. Super flag Hanzo.
My Farah got owned last match.
Your Farah did get owned.
So, Zen's ultimate fire is right click. The individual orbs do all the same damage with left click. However, you charge up 5 of them. So you charge up 1 orb every half second. Each orb you charge up uses up 1 ammo. So you can charge up to 5, and it uses up that much ammo as you're charging. So it does 46 per orb for a body shot. So all 5 of them together do a total of 230 damage without discord, and with discord it does 460 damage. So add that to headshot, does a total of 598 damage.
It's so unsatisfying.
Which is just a really awkward way of saying you can one-shot everybody except for a tank.
But you can even, like, you can one-shot a Roadhog if you kick him afterwards. If you do the melee.
So, let's let Trippin die.
Let me die. Okay.
So she can go back to Speedy Hog.
So that you guys can try to kill Trippin again.
Yeah.
Here you go. It's so weird looking.
Most terrifying hog ever.
no.
Oh my god.
Another thing is, if your Ana sleeps somebody who's like a squishy target, let Zen be the one to kill them.
Please.
Because if they're discorded and they're asleep, you can just fully charge a discorded right click and then it'll just destroy them. Instead of little Diva doing 2 damage, waking him up, and then they
Or
kill
Big
you.
Diva doing 2 damage and waking them up.
So annoying.
There's no salt from that or anything. Sorry, guys. Or Moira clicking on them. Yeah, you're right.
No,
Okay.
Definitely not it.
But anyways, you guys can take turns charging up a right click and hitting Trippin's head, and then discording and doing the same thing.
Those of you who are waiting, we should mention Lego.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Hey. Hold on. I thought I had it, but I didn't have it. But, okay. So, I don't know. Yeah, you guys can keep going. While you guys are waiting, you're gonna learn a little thing. I know that a few people out there like to flank Yada. I don't condone flank Yada. Okay. Just, wow, everyone's saying I do, but, okay. I love flank Yada. I do. In solo queue, it's a blast, but I'm going to help you guys, future flank Yadas that want to get to Masters by doing so. You basically should not right-click while you're trying to flank around. Because Zenyatta has no footsteps, which is super advantageous, but his right-click is loud and you can hear it. So if you're trying to sneak up on somebody, they're gonna hear you. Like, they're gonna totally hear you. And that's where, like, you should not be flank Yada and right-clicking. Instead, you should be left-clicking when you come in. So you should be sneaky, you don't have footsteps, yay, then quick discord 2 headshots, they're dead.
And another small thing. Your discord orb moves faster than your fully charged right. Or just any of your right.
So you can combo it.
So like you can charge up your orbs and send them out and discord the target.
Why? Why was I chosen?
I just want to point
Because
out
I know
these
you.
students are so much better. You guys,
It was
you
either
guys
gonna
haven't
be you
killed
or
me.
Raiden. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot that Phoenix would just walk up and kick you every time you were 2 health.
Yeah, 'cause I have 2 health left. Like, I guess that doesn't. what,
Yeah, no, it's a
90
ton
damage?
of damage. Like, you can do so much damage with just, like, with a charged right click in a Discord. Which means, yeah, you only need, like, 3 of those orbs to hit to kill a Widow.
Exactly.
That's satisfying to think of.
You can cancel your right click at any time.
With a melee.
The melee. So, like, while you're charging up, you just press your melee button. It'll still eat up your ammo, but you will not.
Oh, sorry.
So you can use it to not give away your position, or you're like, oh, I don't actually want to peek this, so I don't need to launch these. So just melee out of it.
Yep. Alright, so I think that we can move forward to discuss Transcendence and
Yes.
all the fun of Transcendence.
Transcendence does a total of 300 healing per second for 6 seconds. So that's a lot of healing.
I'm transing back to spawn to switch, but please no one else trans.
You guys all have your transport up?
I hope so, with the amount of like damage I took.
Yeah. So,
So, trance is a great ultimate to use to just heal up your team. Like if most of your team is critical, you can just use trance, or you can use it to counter ultimates, such as grab dragons.
Yep. So,
which one of you wants to pop trance?
Greetings.
okay, Chocolate can pop trance.
Alright, so Chocolate's gonna pop trance, so
Get in the middle, everyone. Have fun.
everybody get in the middle.
Alright, grabbing.
And then, yay, everybody
And
lives.
just keep everybody alive. Right?
Yep.
Sorry, I just needed to get grabbed by it.
Somebody else have trance?
Yeah, somebody else? Really quick?
Sam.
Sam can do it. Alright.
Alright.
Pass into the iris.
I hate you, Anna!
That's a demonstration of how to...
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
My body
And yet you didn't volunteer.
You didn't volunteer to live. That's not our fault. So yeah, Ana is one of the primary counters to Transcendence with one good anti. That is where you need to basically be communicating with your team and tell your Reinhardt or your Winston, hey, shield this grab. Because a lot of Reins like to swing. And sometimes it's a good idea. Other times, not so much. So you have to look at this sort of counterplay that goes on. Another big counter to Transcendence happens to be snipers, like Hanzo and Widow, because they can one-shot people in the graph, because it's instant damage. One-shot headshot. Favorite saying is don't heal a headshot. You can't heal a headshot. Another thing is a lot of people mistake trans as a body block as some sort of barrier, and it is not. You cannot body block who is trans.
Who has trance? Everybody line up.
Resby this time.
Whoever wants to trance, be in front.
Line up friendos.
Line up, straight line.
I reckon.
Gonna shoot. What?
Okay, go for it.
Wait, what?
Whoever's transing's in the front.
Whoever's trancing is in front. So if you use trance, it does not block shatter.
Because a lot of people think it can body block, but it can save your team from a shatter, which is very helpful.
What it can body block though, next person with trance.
You guys keep backing up further and further.
You're scared!
So everybody get right behind.
Alright, so yeah, just like stand right
So
now.
what you can do is because
Pass into the iris.
It's okay. And it saves everybody. Wow, it worked that time. It didn't work last time.
I think like she moved last second. And
She moved last second and it killed the person in front and saved everybody else. Alright.
But it doesn't do Diva Bomb, right?
No, it does not body block Diva Bomb either. So, it'll save you. Won't save your team. Another important thing that I see that a lot of Zenyatas are conflicted over is when that Genji's got Blade and he's coming after you because he's got Blade and you have Transcendence and he knows you have Transcendence, right? It's a pain when that happens because he's diving you really hard. Your team may not be peeling for you, and you know that once you die, he's gonna pop that Blade and team kill everybody. When it comes down to that, what you want to do, if he's going to kill you and you know he has that Blade, you want to do something like popping trance. You want to save yourself, and you want to yell at your team to kill the Genji.
so yeah, you wanna like put a Discord on him and then pop trance, and then be like, everybody kill the Genji.
That's basically what you do. You do not have to be dignified when you scream at people, I promise. Because I am not.
I'm never dignified when I scream.
I'm a shot caller and I'm pretty sure my voice cracks half the time when something's attacking me. I scream like I'm 5. But it gets people's attention and it gets them to go, oh, we need to kill the Genji to win this fight. And that's what you do, and then their game plan has come to a close. And then you're at least saved for another push and you guys can work on counterplaying that Blade until you have another trance. There's no shame in popping trans. I don't ever think there's such a thing as a bad trans. If you want me to be honest. Exactly. Like I told a story last class where I popped trans in spawn, and instead of going like, oh no, I fat fingered, I screamed go. And we pushed into the team and won the fight, even though we actually didn't even have the trans up when we got to the team. But because we got that little push behind us to just go and push forward, we actually ended up winning. It's things like that. Like, as long as you're capitalizing. If you pop trans and kill that Genji, that's worth it. Your team is invulnerable for 6 seconds, basically. You guys should be, like, screaming a target.
Yeah, and when you are using trans to counter a Dragon Blade, it's very good to just follow the Genji around. You know? Because, yeah, you could stay in your team, but you have... Because Nano Blade actually does cut.
Yeah, it does when you combo it.
It does go through trans.
It can. You have to hit a specific combo with it, but it totally can.
If you're a good Genji, you can...
If you're up in the GM Genjis, they can kill your Ana through trans, unfortunately, with a specific combo. Now, you'll save your tanks, though, so, like, always pop it. I don't see an issue with not popping it.
But, like, so, like, if I... One person, please. Pop trans. If I go in with a Dragon Blade, and I go run around,
Into the
you just follow me around.
Yeah, because usually if a Genji runs off...
Like, this Zen up here, you know, by himself, you know, let's say this is Widow. Ow. You follow the Genji around so that way he doesn't, you know, dash into your Widow, kill her, and they're up 1 for the fight, and that's how they're gonna win the fight. So you follow the Genji around so that way any damage he does gets instantly healed.
Yep.
I'm just gonna
Let's go for
restart
counter.
the match real quick.
Yeah, go for it. We can start talking about counters while the game restarts, though, if you want me to be entirely honest.
Yeah, go for it.
Can I
So,
ask a trans question before
what?
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead now.
So, I had a situation, obviously, in our match with Rose, and our main tank, our Winston, was about to die, and I knew the Zarya had grab, but, like, it was either our main tank died, or I held it for grab, so I decided to save the Zarya's life by transing, and then right after, was that the right choice? Should I just have, like...
That's the right choice, and what you should have done is screamed to kill Zarya. If you know that they have that ult that will win the fight after you pop trans, you target her.
Okay.
So, like, it's the same concept with, you know, that Genji's got Blade. And I have to pop trans because I'm 10 health, and he'll kill me, and then he'll Blade and kill everybody. It's the same concept. So, like, if you're popping a trans to save somebody, but know that there's going to be repercussions in an ultimate, there's many ways to counterplay it. And that's a team-based thing. So as long as you're sitting there going, Zarya, 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 kill Zarya, your team is invulnerable for 6 seconds, so there's no reason she shouldn't die.
Got you.
Another thing that we should mention is when you're in trance, you still take knockback.
Yeah.
So, like, it makes you invulnerable to the damage in CC, but you still take knockback. So, Whole Hog will still knock you back. A Lucio boot. Reinhardt can charge you, which usually is what they try to do to counter trancing in the grab, is they just charge your Zen out.
Yeah. But you can also use that to your advantage. Like, when a Rein shatters, you can tank a pin for somebody if you pop trans in time.
Yeah.
I've done that countless times to save Anas. That he's, like, gunning for with a pin, and then he ends up getting outplayed because you're invulnerable when he pins you.
1000 IQ.
Zen counters all. Zen counter is countered by everything. Rose, would you like to start?
Zen countered by everything, yeah. When we were going over this with Triplid, she's like, okay, so what counters Zenyatta? Everyone. Not a counter. Everyone. It basically, you know, whether or not you can play Zen effectively. It's whether or not how well it's going to play.
Yep.
Because the main thing that counters Zenyatta is coordination. So which is usually done with like dive. So like a Winston and a Diva will dive on their Zen, with their Zen discording, and you'll just end up dying if their team is more coordinated.
Yeah. As far as like, because Trippin was very amused by our answer, but still went, hey, so what comps is he good with? And all of them is our answer once again. So like, I would say that it mostly depends on how you play Zenyatta. Like for me, I'm a very aggressive. Yeah, thank you, Aubrey. I'm a very aggressive Zenyatta. So, like, I thrive off of Rein, Zarya, Deathball, Goats-like comps. Meanwhile, if you're a Zenyatta that likes to stay in the back and play, you know, like with snipers and stuff, because you have no fallout damage, there's actually no reason to play anywhere near your front line unless you're me and you throw half the time sometimes. Anyways, but, you know, you can hang back with your Widow and have no fall-off damage. It really depends. You can play Zen in multiple different positions and in a lot of different ways. So he honestly works with everything, which is why even when Goats came out, they replaced a main healer with Zenyatta in the meta. Because he's just that strong, but he's also not that great. He's really easy to kill if you don't play him well.
He's very squishy.
He's so squishy. And, like, he's still balanced, though. And that's the thing. You have to know where to stand, how to stand. So you can run him with Deathball. You can run him with Dive. You can run him with any sort of comp ever. The only thing I don't recommend is running him with only another Brigitte as a healer. That is, like, the one weakness, I would say. If someone is an insta-lock Brigitte one-trick and you guys are not flexing on triple support, you should probably not play Zen. Because of low healing output, it will actually get everybody killed. I've only had it work once. Oh yeah, Lucio's Zen can actually work in high tiers if you're coordinating. So with that, I would say...
Where should you position Lego?
Oh yeah. Where should we position? That's fun. That's a good time. We're gonna have hopefully like a 10-minute map run through where we're all really fast. It's gonna be great. But Zenyatta thrives off high grounds. Zenyatta, like anywhere with a high ground, like if you're defending, play the high ground. If you're attacking, find a way to push smart and play that high ground. Another thing I would say is if there is no high ground, corners. Corners everywhere. I can explain that. Like, we're coming up mid here attacking. Look, there's a corner. Play this corner to peek. Sorry, I didn't mean to actually shoot anybody. But, like, play this corner to do something. You guys want to go underneath somewhere, and there's people sitting high ground, play this corner. Don't play out in the open. The second you're out in the open with Zenyatta, you will die. There's no question. The second that you're running up mid, not hugging this wall, and you're, like, out here, look at how much you have just exposed yourself to get hit by. It's dangerous to do that. You never want to play exposed as Zenyatta. Some of the best Zens in the world will always be hugging a corner. A corner is their best friend. If your tanks can't seem to push past this certain area, that's not on you. I have taken it on me before, and I've tried to push forward, and I have died instantly, and then they've gone, why are you feeding Zenyatta? You want to play high grounds, you want to play corners. And yeah, exactly. Always on the corner. I like that. I'm going to use that now.
With Zen, as with any support, you want to always be moving. So you want to be constantly crouch spamming, H spamming. Never stand still. Because if you stand still, you're going to die. Even if you think you're safe, you still want to be moving. Because you never know who's going to come around the
Yep.
And, you know, the question is, what should you do as a Zen when you get dove by, say, their Winston? What you don't want to do is press S. So say you're Zen, you're standing up here where I am, I'm the Tracer. And say Winston comes in and dives me, Triple P, help.
I mean, I'm Zenyatta, but I'm 10.
I can trans over there and like try to and be like, hey, I'm Winston diving you.
I'll be back.
By the way, use trans to get back from spawn faster. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Please don't do that. Please don't do that.
Where's the
Apparently
hole
the
in these
one hero I
ones?
didn't lower cooldowns
Where's the
on.
hole in these
Oh
ones?
no, well you didn't do it
Those
for,
don't have a hole. Oh, they're not? Okay.
Those are mine.
I feel like there was another one that had a hole.
There is. It's like yoga pants. Like not the colorful
Alright,
ones.
so, when I'm Zen, and everybody here is an enemy with what you don't want to do is you don't want to press S to get away from him. If you're pressing S and you want to try and get away from him, say you're on a setup over here, like this, right? You just walked out of your Ana's line of sight. You walked out of help from your tanks who are down on the point, and you're just gonna die to the Winston. What you should do is, if you get dove, you should press W. Drop down, be with your tanks, so your Reinhardt can start swinging at their Winston, and your Ana, who should still be on the other high ground, can heal you from there.
Or
So
let's
you're
say
not-
that. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to cut in, but I'm saying like let's say that we're also running dive on defense because that's really popular here. Because you're banking on a Reinhardt on point, which is totally valid because that's definitely a strat on defense. But like let's say it's a Winston. The reason you also want to hold W instead of S, you can keep that high ground. You can also scream break bubble if a Winston is diving you. That is the biggest thing you can do because the bubble also will cut off LOS. Winston doesn't do that much damage unless he crash dives you. But, like, it's hard to do a crash dive on Numbani, fun facts. So, basically, what you want to do is you want to go towards this Winston, deal a ton of damage while breaking the bubble while your team counter dives on top of their tanks. And then your Ana will be able to throw a nade, heal you, etc., etc. But if you back up and give up that high ground, it's kind of game over, if you want me to be honest. They'll just chase you down.
I honestly thought you said break bubble, and I was like, I have not played Overwatch in so long. I had no idea if you had that ability.
No, break bubble.
Season 14, God, get with it.
Season 14, Brig now has a bubble.
Gosh, Brigitte with a bubble. So annoying.
Your other pants?
Lifeline 2.0.
Do you know where your other pants are at?
They might be in the drawers.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Maps. Which maps are Zen good on? This is another thing that made Trippin mad.
Okay, yeah. Exactly. Thank you, Sam. Sam is actually the MVP. All of them. Sam is correct. Zen is actually good on every map possible, which is why he is run on every map possible. There are certain exceptions, though, in the competitive ladder. Let's say you're not running the meta, and you're in solo queue, and you're running on Gardens on Lijiang, or any King of the Hill map, minus a couple. You're really struggling because you need that speed boost to get to point in the beginning of the game. That's where it's kind of an exception where you may want to go Lucio, at least for the first engagement. And then if you lose, you can probably go Zen since they have point advantage anyways. But King of the Hill maps that I absolutely would still play Zen on is Ilios Ruins, Lijiang Control Center. I'd also play him on Oasis University and Busan because of high ground and corners. Those are like your best ones. Any open maps can be a little rough for him if there's nowhere to take cover, which most King of the Hill maps are like. So, I guess Ilios Well will work for him too, but everyone wants to play Lucio on that map. You know, he's good on every map though, which is why he's run on every map. You always see a bunch of different swaps, never the Zen. So yeah.
So some good things about Zen's settings. They should already be turned on by default. You want to make sure you have your allied health bars on. You really should have your allied health bars on, right?
Yeah.
You want to make sure you have your allied health bars on so that you can see how much health all of your team has. So you know whether or not they're going to need, your harmony or expansion. Another thing is you can change the sensitivity of your orbs. It's the same setting as your projected bubble for Zarya or your nano boost or your guardian angel. It just basically is how close your weapon is to the target over for it to. So the higher the number, or the farther away, you could be like, so Lego's here. You know, I'm way over here. Lego has super high sensitivity. Who can, near point, can still put an orb on me.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But if it's really low, she would need to look directly at it.
Where is that? Sorry, I'm under Zen.
I'm
Yeah, it's in controls Zenyatta, and it should be like right under the hero section.
Yeah. Like I have mine on max because it's a no cooldown ability.
Like it says hero, allied health bars, and it says open harmony
Ah,
sensitivity.
yes, 100. I have it at 100.
Yeah, I like it at 100 because it's no cooldown. It's a very quick swap. Like, look how quick I can swap those discords.
A lot more painful on Zarya, let me tell you.
It's painful on certain heroes. But if you prefer to have like a more exact, then have a more exact. It can help some people. It's and like nano boosts, stuff like that. Let's see.
Do we want to get into the walk?
Okay. Did you set up the custom game so we're really fast again?
I did. Of course I did.
Okay, amazing. Alright guys, we're gonna do a really quick run through of Numbania's very fast Zenyatas.
Oh!
Yeah,
It hugs.
and where's very fast Zenyatas meet on point again. We're gonna discuss defense then offense, alright? So, if you guys see me, I'm the very pink Zenyatta.
Rocket boosted robots.
I'm the very pink Zenyatta. You guys are going to want to start it right where I'm standing, and I just jumped because this jump sensitivity is bad.
I can't jump!
You're gonna want to start right here, okay? Right here. In this back corner. It is almost guaranteed the best thing you can be on Zenyatta because you have this rotation to run up here so that you can avoid sight lines and play this area if they push up in the top. Or you have the ability, stop blocking me, to like run around to this high ground if you need to with having a full-on cover. It's very popular with Widowmakers, Numbanias. They usually like to sit in that mid, but guess what? You've got your best friend, the corner. And you can sit there and you can strafe back and forth while firing, okay? Like, it's the best thing you can do. Honestly, Numbani defense is this entire high ground on Zenyatta. That is it. I would be careful going over here, though, because this makes you very susceptible to picks. Alright? So, like, try to avoid this one leg here and play this entire L shape along with the back of it. And it'll go really well for you. That's defense point 1. If you have to drop to point, you have to drop to point. But, like, that usually means you've lost the fight. Alright.
Can I just ask? Sorry,
What's up?
Like in regards to that, like I find sometimes when I do that, you know, maybe my team is set up somewhere else, but then like I get dove first because hey, I'm by myself over there.
Yeah. A lot of the time, this is one of the few times, it depends. Your Ana, if you have an Ana, should be playing back here with you. So if anything, it's separating the healers out, but that actually hurts the tanks if you guys back up and play this room. Because if your team's holding like this high ground across, then there's no way to pincer. And so you're able to just like come into this back room with your Ana. Your Ana can pocket you and Zen does mad damage, so you can actually kill both tanks if they're dive tanks.
Okay.
So it's more on your Ana than on you if she's not playing up here. Now if your Ana for some very odd reason is not playing with you, then maybe you can play this area instead. It's a little trickier, but it'll keep you out of main so people won't see you to dive you, if that makes sense. So they can't see you, and you kind of anticipate them jumping on this high ground. Then suddenly, lo and behold, they use their cooldown, and you can just start volleying them with the rest of your team. So it really depends. And then if they're running dive and you see it, and you see that you're alone, you can always rotate this back high ground to come rejoin your team. So as long as you are playing this high ground in general, you're actually pretty much golden. So like, and by high ground, I mean like this whole area. Whatever suits your team. But honestly, if the team on the enemy side is running like a Rein Zarya, don't even bother rotating. You can usually just stay here. But if they're running dive, you can try to be all tricky like this, or you can go and rotate to be with your team. Hope that answered. Okay, awesome. So, second point defense. You have an arrow in your knee. Whether you get good spawn or bad spawn, you guys should want to set up in the same area, which is, once again, high ground. This is some crazy Zenyatta stuff. So, you know, you guys want to be playing to your advantages. So if your team is trying to hold at spawn, which happens a lot on the second point, to kill time, you can play from all the way up in this high ground and just volley damage and discords and harmonies down onto them, and I move too fast, so I fall off the edge. But let's say they make it up to bus. You're going to be well aware when they win that team fight, so you can just rotate along these bridges and come all the way back and play with your best friend again, a corner, which is right here. You know, you get your best friend the corner again. If they start to rotate past bridges, you can come play back here. It's not as much of a corner, but you can actually use this entire building as kind of a corner to cut off sightlines. And then if your team loses again, we're gonna go to my favorite spot in the map, which is third point. The ambush. So, I like to play this high ground. If anyone's around here yet. It's a little I'm jumping in place.
Okay, see.
Alright, so this is what I like to call ambush, because while you may not be able to see, there are diamonds that show for the enemy over here, so you can actually see where the enemy is. It's fake wall hacks. So you're able to actually target stuff, and you're actually shooting directly at choke from this point. It's called ambush because there's a little bush. Yeah, it's like everyone's favorite part because they get to see it. But you can also, if you don't feel comfortable playing ambush yet, you can play on this far right, left, or whatever, wherever you're facing, where I am right now, jumping up and down. You can play this area, and then you can rotate through the high ground up to ambush. And then let's say they push past this corner, then you can rotate from ambush to spawn and play this spawn high ground. And that is basically how you play third point defense. And
You said if you don't play ambush, you play where? Sorry.
okay.
Actually, see something.
No, you're okay. So if you're, so you want to play here, and then if their team starts to push past, I'm so glad I'm fast. If your team starts to if their team starts to push past this area, like, you know, they're coming around the corner and your team's not holding it, that's when you can use this building as cover to rotate up to ambush. And you can play that all the way up to the next corner. Everything's geometry and corners. Then there's no shame in dropping down and playing this last spawn high ground. So there you go. That is how you play third point. Without getting killed. And not like a flankyata.
Flankyata.
Nah. Attack's where we get to flankyata routes, because it's a lot easier to flankyata on attack than defense. So let's go back and let's cover attack.
Fastest.
I am going to need water after this. I've been talking so much, Trippin. Alright, so all the way to spawn so that we can follow the leader. There's going to be 3 different routes we're going to cover here, especially for Nimbani. There is flankyata, which I do not condone, but you might want to do at some point if your team is not exactly the most competent. There's the correct route to run with dive, and then there's the Ryan Zarya route, which is tougher, but if it fails, it's not on you. So let's go forward. There's the, let's start with the dive route. So what your tanks are going to do if they're running dive, they're going to dive up to this high ground. This means you're going to be playing main with an Ana, most likely. Sometimes there's a Mercy, which is fine. You can play this alone because your Mercy can peel for you. You're going to play this corner. Your tanks are going to dive into that back area, and you're just going to sit there, strafe, play corner, until you get the point. That is it. That is the entire route for that. Pretty straightforward. You do not ever need to push on point for Numbani. I'm letting you guys know. Even if your team is capping, do not. They can come in for a last minute contest. Second, we're going to cover the Ryan Zarya route. So we're going to go back a little bit to this high ground that everyone likes to go for some reason. But your Ryan and Zarya are going to push forward and make space. get ready for there to be some sort of crossfire, because once again, Widow is popular and your tanks can't contest it quite yet. Your tanks are most likely going to drop onto point, which is the smart move because it will make them have to come down and contest you. If they're running dive, honestly, if the enemy team is running dive, play main. You can get dove so easily here without any help from your tanks, because it's just first point Numbani. So, but let's say that they're also running like an Orisa or a Rein Zarya, because those are both popular on defense. You can sit there and set up a crossfire and start firing across against this like Widow, and guess what? You get to play your best friend, the corner. Until somebody, usually like a Genji or something, that's playing Arafara, can zone them in. And that is how you play the Rein Zarya route. Now the flank Yata route, which is what everybody was waiting for. You guys can either take this cheekily and go underneath, or you guys can take the far flank. The far flank is really taxing. You should probably let your team know that you're flanking if you're taking the far flank. But either way, you're going to go to the same place. So let's say we're going underneath and our tanks are running dive or Rein Zarya, and they're getting their attention of the people in the high ground, and they don't see you, so you can just kind of scoot on over into this back area, maybe with a tracer that you're friends with. I duo queued with a tracer where we would do these flank routes together. But and then you don't right click because it's loud. They'll see you. And McCree's also popular here, so suddenly you're getting flashbang and fan the hammered, which is rude. So you're gonna walk up, you're gonna discord your target, and you're gonna double headshot them, and suddenly 3 people are dead. You won, and no one knows why. But your tanks are sitting there going, "Yay, we did it!" Anyways, and then we get to second point attack, which is pretty entertaining. Cause guess what, Zen, you get the cart all the time, don't you? You always just get that payload. So you're gonna push the payload. You're going to probably get it around this area, unless they start spawn camping. But if they're spawn camping, there's nowhere else to play except the spawn, which is the corner. Have fun. But let's say you push it to bridge, not bridge, buses, and they take it back from you. They win the team fight. So you have to get off cart, obviously, and then your team has to try to push for that cart. That means you want to play this left room. It is hard to get high ground when you are the attacking Zenyatta, and that's okay. What you do instead is you play cover. So you're going to be playing cover, firing shots at people from all around. You can even go in here if you want to flank Yata it a little bit and come all the way around. Or you can, if the team's really aggressively holding this bus, you can sit there and you can make this Rein go, "Oh, what the heck? Someone's right here. It's a Zenyatta. Kill it." And then you can run away laughing. And so, if you want to, you just use buildings, second point. These 2 buildings, because that plays and caters to the payload. Now, let's say you guys push past this, choke and stuff and lose the fight again. Now that you guys have won that initial team fight, you guys have the ability to come and take this high ground. The one that we were defending on. You guys have that complete ability to come and take this high ground and just rain down on them as they're trying to come through and defend. And then you guys capture. Third point. It's really fun because it's almost the exact same route. I say play high ground, but Numbani has a special exception. If you are alone, do not come in here. Do not. Bad. You will die. Because there's almost always someone up here, and a lot of times it's a Junkrat that you don't like, and he just mines you anyways. So you don't want to play that high ground. But you can play a lot of really fun routes on top of this. So we're going to do my favorite flank Yata route here. So let's say that they're holding around this area. You're pushing through. You get a little bored because nothing's happening. So you can play this back area. You get a high ground right here where you can just rain damage down on them. Or if you really want to go in, if you're just getting that antsy feeling that nothing's happening, you can really go in. You might die. You probably are going to die if you go this far. But I appreciate the valiant effort if you do. So, but this is a really fun flank Yata route, especially because spawn is right there. If you really want to be aggressive, I've transed in this point, and I've come out on the spawn, you can also just move there normally, and you can hit them from behind. And then you can keep playing and hitting them from behind. And if your team comes in and wipes them like they're supposed to, congrats, you get ambush again.
Yay.
And then you can ambush them in spawn. That's dual meaning, And that's basically it. You're gonna play main for the most part. If you're just doing a normal push, you play this corner, then you push through, come over, and play ambush, and that's it. And that is Numbani.
Can I make a point that, like, second point, high ground, like, I never fucking stand, and I should, like...
Exactly.
Like, oh yeah, that's there, that's right.
A lot of people forget about the high grounds to play, and Numbani's one of the best points for it. Because you can just move in, like, a little nice circular motion, you know? You just get to rotate. It's so natural. So yeah, that is my very fast rundown of Numbani.
How many people want to see like speedruns and Zenyatta walkthroughs on every map? Because I want her to make a series.
Yes,
Dude,
please.
Trippet's already asked, and I'm like, I'm about to have to do a speedrun Zen run through like once a week now for every map.
Like, well, because you can use it on other characters too. Like you can use it on Ana, like the exact same spots.
You can use it on Kree. Zen and Ana work so well together. I like it on Kree. It works for me on Kree. And then I just walk in, flashbang, and fan the hammer at tank, and they die, and it's really fun. But, I'd say Zen and Ana, it works really well. They go hand in hand in positioning, which is why in the top 500, if you look at Zenyatta's, they're often also playing Ana as their second or most played. They work in tandem with each other. Anyways. Whew. Any questions?
No, but that was awesome. Like 10 10. I think I learned at least 10 things, which is a lot.
Wonderful. At least I hope you guys walk out of here knowing how to play Numbani. And then going, I love this map. Because I love this map, and my 4K team hates this map, and it's my favorite map. So yeah. That's all, y'all.
Lego.
Oh, Jose.
Ali, thank you.
Thank you guys so much for joining us.
No problem. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream, Trippin.
Okay, yeah.
Like, real talk though, like, if you guys